Meanwhile, here at home, there is growing pressure on colleges and universities to adequately address a metastasizing culture of anti-Semitic harassment and intimidation on college campuses all across our country. Mislabeling hate as free speech is the subject of a guest essay in the New York Times written by a trio of current university students who I just met. They're very impressive. They write this, quote, "Free speech, open debate, and heterodox views lie at the core of academic life. They are fundamental to educating future leaders to think and act morally. The reality on some college campuses today is the opposite. Open intimidation of Jewish students, mob harassment must not be confused with free speech. Universities need to get back to first principles and understand that they have the rules on hand to end intimidation of Jewish students. We need to hold professors and students to a higher standard." Joining me at the table, college students, the authors of that op-ed in the New York Times titled, "What is Happening on College Campuses is Not Free Speech," Jillian Lederman, Talia Dror, and Gabriel Diamond. Ladies first, tell me what's happening on your campus. Tell me where you go. You go to Brown.
I go to Cornell.
Oh, you go to Cornell. Okay, and we said that it's one of the most uncomfortable for Jewish students. Tell me what's happening at Cornell.
Yeah, absolutely. So at first it started the same way as every other school. You had the rallies where people would get up and scream chants like "from the river to the sea." Those are chants for the elimination of the state of Israel and the elimination of all residents of the state of Israel, so 7 million Jews. That's a call for a second Holocaust. You had universities excusing that speech coming from professors and students under the guise of free speech. And then, unfortunately, the Jewish community received death threats. They said they were going to go into the Jewish Living House and bomb the house. They said they would shoot up the kosher dining hall, 104 West. And the situation devolved into a very uncomfortable, unsafe situation for Jewish students on campus.
And why do you think there wasn't a reflexive impulse to protect the Jewish students on campus?
I think a lot of people are incredibly passionate about this topic, and that's great. And everyone, regardless of where they lie on the political spectrum or their opinions, should be able to voice their opinions. But when those opinions are your family should be killed and resistance is justified, resistance being babies being beheaded, being put in ovens, women being raped, those shouldn't be justified under the guise of free speech. My family, I should never have to walk around campus listening to my peers scream that I and my family should be killed.
And that's happening?
Yes.
At Cornell?
Yes.
And you go to Brown. Tell me what's happening at Brown.
So thankfully at Brown, we haven't had the level of death threats that are faced at Cornell, but I think that what's happening at Brown is reflective of many campuses across this country. Like Talia said, it began with protests on campus that were calling for the annihilation of the Jewish state. It also included a statement from over 30 student organizations on campus holding the Israeli government and the Israeli state entirely responsible for the violence that was perpetrated against them by terrorists. We have had students—
Who signed that?
That was signed by Students for Justice in Palestine at Brown, as well as 30 other student organizations.
And they held that the Israeli government was responsible for the terrorist attack?
They did. So beyond that, since that was a couple of days after the terrorist attack occurred, since then we've had students all over campus ripping down posters of kidnapped Israeli civilians, purposefully leaving fragments of those posters up so that students could see that they were being ripped down. I personally, on campus, at a campus party, was confronted by 2 male students who told me that I was a supporter of genocide. I know that other students on campus have been confronted for being openly Jewish. So what we're seeing right now is this immense culture of intimidation, of harassment that has culminated on other campuses in violence, in death threats, and that I think many students across campuses that haven't had those threats fear will happen to them too.
Are you scared?
I am. I'm worried at what's happening. I've never experienced anything like this before. I don't think any of us have experienced anything like this before. We've grown up in a culture, in a community that understands what it's like to be persecuted, that understands, that has a history of being killed, of being slaughtered on the basis of our identity. Many of us were told throughout our entire lives that that was our history. None of us expected that it would come back to us today.
What is your view on the plight of the civilians living in Gaza?
I think it's horrible. I mean, Look, no one wants to see suffering on either side. And one of the key things, though, that's happening is Students for Justice in Palestine, these organizations on campus, these professors, they're saying that what happened on October 7th was justified. They're saying that, you know, glory to the martyrs.
Who said that?
Who's saying that? These are professors. These are
at Harvard?
students. I
You're
go
at
to
Yale. At Yale.
Yeah.
So at Yale, you're also accomplished. I can't keep all the fancy schools. Okay, so at Yale, there are professors saying what? Tell me.
There are professors who, right after October 7th, they tweeted out, one being Zarina Garwal, saying that what happened on October 7th is okay, to say that the slaughter of innocent civilians was okay. And now we had an event actually this week in which there were guests brought in. The event was co-hosted by Yale's for Palestine, as well as a number of academic departments. These are university departments co-sponsoring an event in which one of the speakers said that the Jewish state, the Israeli state, can no longer be the Jewish state. And a number of Jewish students were left outside of this event. They let in students who weren't on the list, but they didn't let in a few Jewish students. They had to sit outside. And at the end of the event, when they came in, one of the students tried to record what was going on. To their dismay, they saw their professors, they saw friends of theirs who were in there applauding this event. And a professor came up to the student and tried to grab their phone from them, and an administrator had to step in and prevent the professor from doing so.
It's how old, do you remember how old you were when you first learned about the Holocaust? Do you remember? I mean, I think it's usually taught really no earlier than third or fourth grade. But I wonder when you first started talking about the history of the Holocaust in your homes. Do you remember?
I'm sure I was very young. I can't remember exactly. But as Jillian said, we've been educated this. We've been taught Jewish history growing up. And it's very scary when you see some of the early signs of, throughout history, what have been some atrocities. And I mean, the Holocaust, look, is just one of the worst culminations of it. There's many centuries of persecution throughout our history. Yeah,
I mean, I ask because you know, it's taught ostensibly so that at a very young age you learn to make sure it never happens again. But there are so many echoes of history in the denying the facts. I mean, the fact that the Israeli government is having to release photos of the babies that were shot or burned gets at this need that Israel uniquely has to defend its right to defend itself. Does that come up among people that were friends before October 7th?
Yeah, absolutely. Going to Gabe's point, I come from a family of immigrants. My mother escaped Iran under religious persecution. And I also always grew up hearing these stories of how they weren't able to openly express their Jewish identity. My mom used to tell me about how she wasn't able to drink from the same water fountain as other students because they would call her a dirty Jew straight to her face. And I never thought that blatant anti-Semitism would ever follow me to the country that my parents fled to for refuge. So we're definitely hearing, or I definitely grew up hearing those cautionary tales. And unfortunately, today on campus, we're seeing slogans like dirty Zionist being thrown out. And what my mom was being called in the 80s in Iran is very similar to what we're seeing students on college campuses being called in 2023.